Welcome guys, today I'm going to talk about my 2024 prediction for Kamala Harris versus Ron DeSantis. Let's finally start with the solid Harris states. They are the following: Washington, California, Hawaii, Illinois, New York, Vermont, Massachusetts, Connecticut and Rhode Island, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, and DC. And of course, the 1st District of Maine. So the big thing here is the fact that Oregon in this scenario, I do strongly think it would drop just below that 15% margin for safe states due to the lower turnout and would make it a likely state, but of course would vote Democrat. Now for the safe DeSantis states, those are Utah, Idaho, Wyoming, Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska at large. I'll do that in a second. Yep, Kansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, and West Virginia. And with these two, the 1st District and DeSantis being what I call a Goldilocks zone Republican will benefit him quite a lot, as long as he's able to balance himself well during the campaign and appeal to both the Trump fan base and the establishment Republicans, plus the conservatives who voted for Biden in 2020. He can do well and win these by over 15%. All of this brings the safe states to 172 for Harris versus 112 for DeSantis. Getting more interesting, the likely Harris states would be Oregon, and in this case, as I said, probably around 14% just to lower turnout. Colorado, not too much to say here really, but it was probably going to be around 10%. New Mexico could be an interesting one depending on how well Harris does with Hispanics, which is something that the Democratic Party has been losing during recent elections. And if she does even worse, that could be a bad sign, but I would say around 7-8% would be where she gets. Well, for Virginia, not much. Sorry about that. The website crashed. As I was saying, Virginia and Maine at large would be around the same. Not too much of a change from 2020. Moving on to the likely DeSantis states. Those are, first of all, let me talk about Florida. If DeSantis is the nominee for the Republican Party, he would, of course, get a boost in Florida to at least above 5%, maybe even 6%. Making it a likely state, and the boost would also kind of like trickle down to the south, to the entirety of it, since Florida is just such a key and important state. Alaska I put as a likely state, just due to the fact that I don't think it's going to be at 15%, which is safe. I think it's going to be around 13-14 maybe with DeSantis. And it barely went for 10% in 2020, which is why it's going to be that big of a push-up. While for Iowa and Idaho, they're going to stay the same. They're no longer flip states as they used to be 8 years ago, so they're probably going to be around 8%, 9% for Republicans in the future, to be honest. Now for Maine's 2nd District and South Carolina, probably around the same, similar stories to 2020. I don't see any big changes coming. The only way maybe if they get a VP pick, which I don't think they would, DeSantis should get someone from like Texas or from the Rust Belt. As I was saying, overall these states are going to vote Republican almost no matter what, and DeSantis would be a really good candidate. This brings the safe and likely states of each candidate to 210 for Harris and 179 for DeSantis. Okay, getting even closer to the lean states, for Minnesota and New Hampshire, both of these states went likely for Dems by over 5% in 2020, but in this scenario in 2024, I would see them drop, not too much, but around like 3 to 4%, depending on how things go. I do think this is a pretty good statement. While Texas, depending on how good DeSantis runs and his VP pick, he could trickle down an extra boost in the Southern Belt to counterattack the massive migration from people from California and New York moving to Dallas and the big cities. And these people are most of the time are left-leaning. In this scenario, I think Texas would be around 4%, but I would not be surprised if it would become a likely state. But due to those statements, I'm going to put it as a lean, just for now, I might make a new video in the future that I put Texas as a likely. And in 2020 it went by 5.5, so it's going to be a really close one no matter what in 2024, whether it's going to be a lean or a likely state. Now for North Carolina, I don't expect too much of a change from 2020 to happen in 2024. And I would say it's probably going to be between 2 to 4% to DeSantis. Now for the coin tosses and extremely competitive states. And Arizona, a key state more for Republicans in order to win the election. If DeSantis is able to get an endorsement from the McCain family, it's going to help him a lot. But even if they decide to stay quiet and not endorse neither of them, him being from the South will help him quite a lot and give him a better chance here. And with Democrats not doing well with Hispanics and in the last two previous elections, and if Harris does even worse, which she might if things go one way or another, this scenario I would give it to DeSantis due to the fact that he would be just the best Goldilocks zone Republican. And in Georgia, though, another state that flipped in 2020 due to Georgia being a really close state. And if Harris is the candidate, I just don't see too much turnout, which is why I'm gonna flip it back for Republicans, and DeSantis would win here just with a slim victory. Now for Nevada, it's interesting since DeSantis being able to get votes from like old school conservatives that maybe voted one way or the other in the recent elections, with lower turnout for Democrats, and the fact that the socialist wing of the Democratic Party statewide want the leadership of their party, the Democrats, there could be a big backlash in 2024. Even if Ron DeSantis is not the candidate or whatever. But due to its recent history and all that, I'm gonna put it at this is a really tight one. Oh god, it could go either way. Harris, DeSantis, it's only 6, but just due to its recent history, I'm just gonna put it as a tilt Democrat. But I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest, depending on how oh god, I'm losing my voice. On how the socialist wing of the Democratic Party does here. Because if they really mess up, this 100% would go to the Republicans. For Nebraska's 2nd district, I'm not sure if it will be redistricted in the future. And if so, it could be made to help Republicans. But I'll put it as a tilt blue district, since it went to Democrats by over 7% in 2020, so that would be a really big drop to happen. Okay, well, for the Rust Belt states that are becoming more conservative over time due to minority migration from here to the south. And Wisconsin, the least blue Rust Belt state in 2020. With low turnout and having DeSantis on the Republican ticket, it would be the first to flip, and the reason why would be due to the fact that Harris has really low popularity with progressives, and even those that are right-wing that voted for Biden would probably go back to DeSantis, which is why I'm going to put as a tilt. And in this scenario, I think that Wisconsin would be the most likeliest to may even become above 1%, become a lean, but I'm going to put it as a tilt for now. But for Michigan, I'll give it to Harris due to the fact that I'm pretty sure Democrats learned from 2016 and would at least put a lot of campaign money here. And having the highest population of minorities, statistically, this would be their highest chance of winning. And in 2020 went to Democrats by 2.8, which would be not an insane drop, but it would be the highest drop from these states. So I'm going to put it at just a tilt though. Lastly, in this case, Pennsylvania would be the truest of toss-ups, and could go either way depending on how the campaign goes and where the wind is blowing. Really, it could change, but I'd probably give it to DeSantis, as long as he picks a really good VP choice that appeals to both sides of the Republican Party. Okay, as you can see, as of 2021, if Harris goes against DeSantis in 2024, and DeSantis of course gets endorsed by Trump, he would win with 293 votes versus Kamala Harris, who has 245. Until 2024, a lot could happen though. That could affect one thing from one way to the other. It depends on how Harris wins the nomination, whether she won it by being the VP and just going through the nomination, or if Biden stepped down or something happened and she becomes the incumbent president only through succession. It could be a big problem though if that's the route. Since in modern day politics, it's never good to become president only through succession, and the voters just don't like that. Kind of like a bit similar to Ford 1976, except for the political climate back then. And lastly, vice presidential picks could change things around. And if things look good for Harris, she will likely pick, or at least try to pick, Pete Buttigieg as her VP, which would help a lot. But if he knows where the wind is going, he could just straight up reject the offer. Since in politics, if you want to become a president someday, which he does and has a decent chance of, you never want to be part of a failed ticket. And if DeSantis, on the other hand, picks someone that leans too much to, let's say, the Trump side or the old school conservative side, it's gonna shy away voters from the other side, which is a big problem for him, which he needs to balance perfectly, which is why he should go for a low-ranking Republican from here. But overall, this is one of the most likely scenarios of 2024, as of 2021, of course. And these two people are likely gonna be the future of both parties. But yeah, that was my early 2024 election prediction between Harris and DeSantis. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe. Please like and subscribe and share. And see you next time. Bye.